go ahead.
You do? We'll call the meeting to order. Jen, will you take roll call, please?
Commissioner Corbin.
Here.
Commissioner Thel.
Here.
Commissioner Wagner. Commissioner Johnson. And Mayor Denner.
Here. We have the agenda in front of us.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion to approve the agenda and a second. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Under appearance and acknowledgement, we have Eric Hortness of the Executive Director, Greater Madison Area Chamber of Commerce, update in 2020 budget request.
Thank you, Commissioners and Mayor. I also have Adam Shaw, our Board of Director President, here with me. I do have some handouts. The first one is our proposed chamber budget for 2020. It has not been approved by our Board of Directors yet, so you can take a look at that. Our back page has some stats on our MAD money over the last 3 years, and then some stats on sales tax revenue over the last 3 years. And then I also have some marketing pieces that we've done. Some of you have seen these already.
Thank you, sir.
And those are just a few of the marketing pieces that we do. We do some marketing in the Pipestone paper, the Brookings paper. We have a big panel display out in the Black Hills rest area, and that's all contributed to the support that the city has given us in the past. If you flip to the back page, the MAD money stats from 2016 to end of year 2018, we've had about an 8% increase in the MAD money that's used. That's not purchased. That is MAD money that's actually used in town. And the chamber receives no money from that. We're kind of the pass-through. We actually lose money on the MAD money because of maintenance fees and things like that we have to pay for through the company. And then if you look at the sales tax revenue, that's going up each year. Now the chamber certainly doesn't factor into all of that increase, but I like to think that we factor into some of that increase with some of the things that we're bringing to town, some of the events, the programs that we put on, and things like that. So make this fairly short. I just want to ask for your continued support with the chamber at the $85,000 level that we've been at the last 2 years. And if any of the commissioners have questions for us, or if Adam would like to add anything in.
I'll just add in, we do appreciate the support from the chamber side of things. We are working on rolling out a new tiered membership system that'll be a little more advantageous for our members as well. So.
What do you mean by advantageous for your members?
I'm just going to provide them more opportunity, more advertising potentially.
Okay. All right.
A little easier to manage probably on Eric's side of things too.
You panicked me that you were lowering your dues.
No.
Because that wouldn't be good for us.
No. Dues will not be lowered.
How's the Madtown and downtown and Madtown stuff going?
Excellent the first 2 weeks. The electrical upgrade has worked great down there for not only our sound, but being able to provide all the inflatables down there on the one block. That wouldn't have been able to happen last year without that electrical upgrade.
Good. That's great. It's a good time. Thanks for continuing that.
You bet.
Bob, are you on the board for them? How's that going?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming down.
You bet.
We're not
Any
very
other
excited
questions?
I'm good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you for coming.
Consent calendar. Does anybody want anything removed from the consent calendar?
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All opposed, nay. Motion carried. We'll move into unfinished business. Authorize mayor to sign application Dakota State University permit to occupy right-of-way Northwest 3rd Street and North Van Epps. Jed, did you have any new comments on this?
I don't have any new comments. One brief update. Mr. Kruzmark just advised me that he had talked to, just via email, we didn't have a long conversation at all. He can speak for himself too if you want, but the superintendent. For
Joel.
There you go.
Joel.
That's all I had.
Did you guys have anything else to?
I can just, if I might. Stacy Kruzmark with Dakota State University, and just to elaborate on what Mr. Comas had mentioned, I did speak with the superintendent and the business manager of the school district. I believe the mayor also had a conversation with them. The question that came up 2 weeks ago of the potential or the desire potentially to move the bus stop that would be in this area, and they said they'd be willing, and they actually do that periodically, looking at where the existing bus stops are at and if they should be moved or not be moved for a variety of reasons, safety included. So they obviously would be looking at the safety aspect of it and said they would be more than happy to look at that, and if deemed appropriate to move, would do so.
Joel Jorgensen told me the same thing. I did meet with Kate, the principal at St. Thomas, and the last conversation, I think that was on Friday, she indicated to me that her and Father Kaiser wanted everything to remain the same on where the buses pick up and where the parents pick up. That's basically was the two, what I've heard from them.
Yeah, now, that was my previous conversation with them as well. When I showed them the original proposal, they said, yeah, that seems appropriate. And when I followed back up on the bus stop, they said, we would want to keep it there. That doesn't mean that as things progress and we find a different idea or solution that we
Right.
certainly can entertain those.
Right.
That would be in the jurisdiction of the school district though, and not us on moving that.
Thank you.
I guess if this doesn't go through, what are your plans? What are you going to allow the students to do? What's going to happen on your end?
Well, as I said before, we've evaluated a number of different options and felt that this was the best option for many reasons, but thinking of the neighborhood, this is the option that would be most desirable to our students, and most likely, can't promise anything for certain, but I think we would be very, very sure that our students wouldn't be parking in the neighborhood streets, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So
if this did not pass, that would be the alternative.
we would be looking at other options, but we don't have jurisdiction on the public streets. We can't tell our students not to park there. So what we're trying to do is prevent a proposal that would be an incentive for them not to park in the street and stay within the confines of our property and the right-of-way in a safe manner.
And that, if I may, that gets to be difficult to ascertain how you can
I know what it's like when you think, I'll just park here for a minute, you know, and then you end up leaving a car there for hours or days or whatever. I mean, it's come down to, before, as I look at this whole thing has been, I would say mismanaged. I would not say necessarily think that. But you guys are in the construction phase. I mean, you're putting together that building now. I mean, and we're not here again, as our attorney has reminded us, and there he is to remind you once again.
Perfect timing.
We're not here to talk about the building, because that's foregone conclusion. It's what you're doing there. It's the parking issue. I worry that if we don't do this, and I'm not pleased about being put in the position of having to do this, but that if we don't do this, it's gonna be that many more spots, parking, parallel parking along the street. On Van Epps and other places too. So it seems to me that despite the fact that I don't want to do this, this is probably in the best interest of everyone involved.
You done, Kelly?
At the moment, yeah, sure.
Okay. When did this surface? What, did it like October or so of last year? When did you start trying to make a deal on this convent?
Certainly, the Catholic Church, I think it was in last summer, I don't have the specific date, but it was during the summer last year that they looked to sell the property, and we were made aware of that, had conversations with them. The Board of Regents then approved our purchase on their agenda that was published the beginning of October 2018, and that gave us the approval to purchase the property for a residential facility, which was described in the Board of Regents agenda item at that time. We then closed in November on the property, the university buying that from the Catholic Church, and have been planning and trying to determine exactly how to best situate the new residential facility since that time. I think I've mentioned before, as the university grows, the challenges that we have before us as a university and as a community are obviously some good challenges to have, but they are challenges. So finding more additional housing within the community for our students is something we've been looking and trying to do since this was actually rented by the Catholic Church to several of our students. Now, not as many, but there were students living there prior. This made some logical sense, and it was set up to be a residential facility when it was originally constructed. And quite honestly, the way we have it laid out is very close to how it was originally laid out when it was a convent and originally built. So it's probably a little more info than you asked, but
Go ahead.
That's fine. Do you and the Board of Regents have any intentions of buying more property for a parking lot?
at this point, buying, no,
Or
We-
renting or anything?
I
If
really-
this don't go through?
I really can't say at this point what we are or aren't doing, again, as our evaluation. This, I think, is the best solution. We're waiting for the city commission to make their determination so we can either move forward with our proposal if approved. If not, then we need to come up with another solution, which again, I think what we've tried to do is present a proposal that doesn't have students parking in the neighborhood, which is what we have before you today.
Well, I've had 7 calls over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, from Catholics and private people that has their kids dumped off there or let go at school, the bus stop, and they're quite concerned about they said it's much easier to drive away than it is to back out into a lane of traffic or wherever kids could be running.
Yeah.
And I told him I would use my judgment.
I think if I could, Mr. Mayor, we talked a little bit 2 weeks ago about the times of days that the students would be moving or potentially driving, and the morning is going to be very limited number of traffic from our students, in the afternoon likely as well. So, which was part of our assessment in looking at this and saying, from a safety aspect, does this create any more safety concerns than are already there? In our opinion, no. In fact, we think it actually potentially makes it better, but
I can't believe you don't know the region's future plan for 2 and 5 years from now. It's hard to, you know.
if I knew that for sure,
Yeah, Susie, and I've gone back and forth on this one and with my colleagues up here, back and forth on this. As I said a few months ago, I'm not crazy of the way this has all come to us. It felt like it came to us in a knot, and we tried to untie the knot and figure out something else we could do, something constructive. I don't have any trouble with the building there. I find it hard to believe that, based on what Steve and I have talked about, and I've visited with him, I've queried him a couple times about it. I'm not worried about student misbehavior. It's the whole parking thing, that the whole diagonal parking is, and not doing it, how it affects the people in the neighborhood. Okay, that's my overall major concern. Is how people will lose access to some parking, possibly, in this venture. So if we don't do this, if we don't build this diagonal parking, I think that's going to happen. We're going to have some problems. If we do this, I'm going to make some people mad that we did it. But it is the solution that seems the best, given the situation, the proposal to come forward with. And I have looked at others, and I have not talked to the district. I have talked to other persons involved. I would hope we could come together better as governmental entities to solve this problem, but it doesn't seem to be happening. I think once the diagonal parking is put in, why would the Regents buy a parking lot? I mean, why would they buy a place to park? I just said that in the very beginning of this thing, and I still don't think they will. It's great, why would you? You know, but in order that those who have parking in front of their homes and want to secure it, this is, to me, the only option then. Anyway.
Mr. Kruzmark, as contested as this issue is, I was thinking that perhaps we could put a group of stakeholders in the neighborhood together that would meet a couple times. Would DSU be interested in participating in that if we were to do that? Some local homeowners, and then if they had issues, they could bring it to that group, and the city and DSU, we could address them together.
well, I think the university would always be open to conversation, discussion. How do we make the situation better? We really need a decision, though, from the city on can we move forward with this or not. But we've talked internally. Steve Barlow and the Residence Life crew have talked about how does the staff working here kind of have the olive branch reach out and work in the neighborhood, that type of thing. Because I think it would be a good experience for the students and also for the university as a whole that, we're partners in the community of Madison, and we don't want to have this confrontational situation. But as we continue to grow and continue economic development in the area, that becomes a challenge. Things are changing, evolving. New buildings are being built, new jobs are being created, more students are coming here. That becomes a little challenging. The alternative of declining and losing revenue and losing population obviously is not desirable. So there's a number of institutions in that boat. So kind of smile that we're in the situation we are, and we'll deal with the challenges as best we can.
One more question. If we denied this tonight, for 1 year, could you work on a plan B to come up with renting another lot close by for the parking? And just try it out and see how it works, parking on the street and stuff?
I think, Commissioner Thill, that is what we've played out in our scenarios and seeing this is a better option because of the proximity to the residence hall. If we find a different location to park, I think the students are going to want to park in the neighborhood because it's closer. It's right outside. They're going to parallel park in front of the DSU property and likely adjacent to that property. Thus, we feel this is the better solution versus finding a property either close by that's available that we could create another parking lot. It's not the perfect solution, but it's a better solution in our opinion.
I'm concerned that 20 years ago when I went to DSU, oftentimes I had to park in the street around campus, and I still see students, not hammering on DSU, but you have parking issues up near campus. If we drop this subject now, they may never come back to it because they'll move on. They've got other housing issues. I don't know what incentive they'd have to come back other than the neighbors not liking cars parked in front of them, and we could solve that now. And the neighborhood would be safer with this parallel parking, or this angled parking, in my mind. Got a message from Commissioner Waldner. He had an altercation with a bike and a dog, apparently, but and he said that from the safety commissioner's standpoint, they feel that opening that street up and parking in the right-of-way is the best option, based on what we have presented here.
Does anybody else?
I just want to ask Stacy a quick question. So 4 weeks ago, we asked Dakota State if they'd be willing to buy the house behind the convent directly at the back door of the dormitory, because the Hansons revealed that they would be happy to sell, which would make a perfect solution and parking lot for these students because it's right outside their back door. You would have to sell the house and move it and build a parking lot. And you could charge the students a fee within their dormitory fee of parking. And you'd actually, eventually, bring back money on it. So there is another solution, but no one has said a word. And I want to ask you, who have you talked to about that solution?
Go ahead.
Again, we were made aware that the Hansons who live next door were looking into selling. We still have this proposal on the table and have to determine, is this going to be approved or not? Again, if it's not, then we have to look at other options. But one of the things we're looking at is also the cost to our students. The concept of the Board of Regents can just buy this. The students are the ones who have to pay for that. And so when we looked at the convent property, one of the things that was desirable about that property is it was housing. So renovating it into housing was a very feasible solution. We had a handful of students that were living there already under an agreement with the convent or with the Catholic Church. So changing that from the church-owned property to DSU property and having more students there made sense. If we look at acquiring, and we haven't talked to Chase and Lindsay or the other landowners about the specific price that they would want. They obviously mentioned that they'd be willing to sell. And quite honestly, we'll probably get a call every other week from somebody who's willing to sell their property to DSU, which is part of the challenge as we continue to grow, looking at, how would that make sense? So I think that's something going forward, but it doesn't address the issue right now of the proposal we have on the table. And again, we would have to buy the house, move the house, demo the house, find the funds to actually do all of those things, and then create parking and to do so. So anything's possible. I think the mayor and I even talked about maybe the city wants to buy that, but
We bought enough property.
just an idea.
Yep, yep.
So you haven't talked to them about it? No.
Not directly.
You didn't do it.
So you're not looking at any other option?
That's what we asked you.
This is it?
Steve Hofer, is this on? Oh, Madison, South Dakota. Lindsay Hansen, who we're here on the behalf of, and have tried to support her and Carrie's concerns. On the other side, Lindsay said that she spoke with you concerning a chain link fence of $200. Do you recall that?
Mr. Mayor, do you? Is that a question?
That's a question for you.
I don't know what the procedures are here normally.
Fine.
But I'm happy to answer any questions. Yeah, we met 2 weeks ago. We met outside and talked about ideas. And again, I think the idea that Commissioner Corbin said of having a group to sit together and talk about different ideas.
I just asked about the fence.
Yeah, we talked about the
You
fence.
said what?
And I said we'd be willing to look at those types of things.
Okay.
So,
All right, well, and I'm speaking for, and I think Carrie can speak, that you said no. That's been confirmed.
That would be an expense, an added expense.
And I know that has disregard to what we're talking about here, but I feel it's important because we're citizens, the residents, and so far we have not been mentioned by the university. I'm sorry, and I agree, Jeremiah. I don't know if that'll happen because so far it just hasn't. I mean, I came here tonight with no notes because I want to have an open mind and understand. And again, thank you guys for listening. I'm probably venting more than I should, but I just feel that the Eye Care Center built a huge privacy fence for the house next to them, just because that's the kind of guy Mike Brook is. All the car washes have huge privacy fences around them. The businesses pay for those because businesses get it. And I feel a chain link fence is nothing for $200. I'll pay for it. Or I say a 10 to 12 foot privacy fence all the way along the back side of that dormitory, as Lindsay has 2 little girls. And Carrie has grandkids that she watches over. So anything on the parking and whatever, I'm just in general stressing those are things that I feel that the college will not address. And, I understand. And I guess it all comes down to taking this to the state legislature and find out, why, city zoning laws are overridden by institutions, because I just feel that was a mistake made by that then governor. But anyway, I'll let you talk.
I just want to clarify, we had a conversation 2 weeks ago. I think a number of us were outside. We talked about fence or other things that we could do. We didn't make any commitment. Obviously, we can't make a commitment like that on the cuff. And we didn't say no, we didn't say yes. But I think those are the types of things that we would want to talk to the adjacent neighbors or any of the neighbors. What can we do as a university to make that property or the environment in that area better? Is it a fence that we could invest in that would make the property adjacent or our property equally improved? Let's have that discussion. There's already some fence that's up between the 2 properties. There's probably some cleaning that needs to be done for trees and bushes. But I think we said all along that we would be more than happy to have that discussion and determine what would be the best to make that experience better. Safety for our students, safety for the neighbors, etc.
Thank you.
Safety for our kids.
They need to be safe from those grandkids.
Anybody else for the parking issue?
Can I just piggyback a little bit? I know, I'm sorry, Marshall. And I do appreciate DSU growing. I think that is so awesome. I do. I really do. But a little transparency would have made a huge difference to all of us, I think. It's almost a slap in the face to me that it's a take it or leave it deal. And hearing through the grapevines that if we want a fence, that we can put up a fence. That kind of doesn't set well with me or anyone else. So, I mean, that's, like I said, it's a safety issue, and just sitting in my patio right now looking, that's what I'm going to see. I'm going to see the back and, you know, the back side of that, students coming and going. It is infringing on my privacy, and theirs too. I mean, they probably don't want to watch me either. So I'm just saying, you know, a little transparency here. If you don't want to put up a fence, then tell us that. But don't say it behind our backs. Or don't say that you're working with us, because you're kind of not.
I just, I'm not sure where the fence discussion, because we had the discussion about the fence
We
quite
did.
honestly.
And what you said was it was an added
I don't know if
expense.
somebody's telling you that we said, no, we will not build a fence, because I've never heard that. We've never said that, to
I
my
heard it through
knowledge.
the grapevine that, and
So-
yes, I know rumor mill
okay.
can be not accurate,
Well-
but there's always that salt of truth there.
I can tell you, we did not say, no, we will not build a fence.
Okay, okay.
I'll let you guys hash
So-
out the fence. So,
Exactly.
But it does go with the
Back to
safety
Jeremiah's
thing.
question, of
Right.
a citizens group, very few people say, what would make this work, make this could work?
Yeah.
You know, that might really be a step.
I think it'd be good.
A privacy fence, and truly a privacy fence. So that's not in that right away.
right, right.
I'm looking forward to those meetings.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything on parking?
Roy Lindsay, lives in Madison. Just from a common sense standpoint, when you look around St. Thomas, there's angle parking on the east side of the school. That is not considered private parking because it's totally in the city street. So that would be an area where students could park and would not be in a tow-away zone. The church did create angle parking on the north side and did go completely into their property. So on that area there, they could put up a sign that says for church use only. On the west side of St. Thomas School, there are a number of rentals. Those students some have off-street parking. In the wintertime, most of the time they're on-street because it's difficult to get into their area. 3rd Street is one of the widest streets that we have in the city of Madison. And when you look at the angle parking that they're going to put in, that is going to be in farther than the majority of the angle parking that we've got in other residential areas, including across from the church that's on the south side of the Dairy Queen. The other issue that you run into is if the students are going to move their vehicles, where are they going to park that's going to get them closer to campus? Now, I've put 8 kids through college, and every one of them has walked a further distance from where they park their car to where their classes are. So when I look at it from the standpoint of a parent who's had kids in college, I look at those vehicles probably are not going to move very much. So can you put it off? The answer is yes. Will you solve the issue? The answer is no. Will you create a bigger issue that'll be back in front of you? I believe so. So from the standpoint of looking at the angle parking that is already on the east side of the St. Thomas School, that would be free parking also for the students, which means where does the staff and that park? Because the school has not provided off-street parking for the people that go to St. Thomas. Does it create an issue in that parents will have to deal with in dropping their students off? The answer is yes. Will they figure it out? I believe they will. So that's my 2 cents in that, but I think what the university has come up with as an alternative at this point in time to start this school year is probably the best thing going for the city.
Thanks, Mr.
Thank you.
Lindsay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Hi, my name is Nancy Arneson, and I'm just a concerned citizen. I'm in that neighborhood every day at 11 o'clock to about 11:10. And what I witnessed there is parents parking on the south side of the road, and they come in to get their preschool children, and some of them have children that are even younger than preschool age, and they're carrying them in a carrier, and they're going into the school to get them. And my concern is if we let them have diagonal parking, you're going to lose that eyesight. You know, it's just, they park right there. Where are they going to park? Where are the parents going to park? There's parking. Is this all for the students? Is it going to be for people, general public? And then if it's not for the parents to park there, where are the parents going to park? How much further do they got to walk? And while I'm sitting there waiting for the children at 11 till 11:10, I'm watching the other kids on the playground. Sometimes the kids lose a ball, goes rolling across the road. If we have this parking the way that they want it to be, that's going to be hard for anyone in a vehicle backing up to see a small child bent over picking up a ball. And that is what I'm really concerned about. And I haven't heard of solutions to the problem, but just sitting here, I have got a few ideas. What about the college purchasing land that used to be the car lot right there across from Sunshine to the north? That's an empty lot. Could you not buy parking there?
We had discussed that initially.
Well, that sounds like a wonderful idea to me. Okay, and another idea. Okay, you know where Wyland's Funeral Church is. To the north of there is a church. From that street to the next corner is all slotted parking. Couldn't the students use that? They'd be even closer to campus. And I mean, there's many unused spots there. And as far as changing the bus stop, I agree with Father Kaiser that keep it the way it is. I'm to be in sight of the children coming to the bus, and if I need to move to the west side, which was suggested, yeah, that's a good place for the bus to be. But, well, to the east side is great too, but there's also...
Right in front of the church.
Okay, I still need to have eyesight from the doorway to the bus, or those teachers are going to have to walk out, and that might be an inconvenience for them. I don't know. But I just wanted to voice my concerns and offer maybe some solutions. I feel there's at least two good ones there.
Thank you.
Egan Avenue, they'd have to move their car every 24 hours. It'd be on the street.
Don't they, if it's the way it is now, don't they have to?
Oh, that's all. They'd be off the street.
Or if they purchase the bare lot that's right across from the grocery store? Just ideas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Corbin, is a 24-hour parking limit apply anywhere, or?
So,
I thought so.
Please leave speaker
Yes,
here.
yes.
Oh, the chief's here.
Sorry. Good ideas. We brought those up 4 weeks ago, but DSU has not responded to all the ideas we brought up. So it looks like, nothing's going to change for them. But I do want to really propose a great solution to maybe just the antagonism and the stress in the room. Because I'm looking at this as a whole different opportunity for all of us. A lot of this, I think, has been brought on by money, and the love of money is the root of all evil. There's a lot of money involved, and some of us have it, some of us don't, but it just seems like money is the basic issue here. So. I think we've kind of forgotten who we are, and at the core, we're providers and protectors, especially of women and children. And I forget who I am. We all need to be given second chances because we just kind of forget what's important, what really matters. My husband and I want to help in that area. We're called to provide and protect, and that's what real men do. That's what good men do. I believe the men and women in this community and in this very room are all very good people, all of you. And maybe we're just forgetting who we are for a minute. It happens to all of us. I want to offer a way to turn this situation around, turn the negative feelings around, to remember why we're here. There's not just a few good men in here. There's an abundance of great men and women in this community, and we're called to provide and protect, especially women and children. The Domestic Violence Network asked to buy this building from St. Thomas for a badly needed safe house for women and children, but St. Thomas chose to sell it to the state. My husband and I have been very foolish with money. We are not putting any laying any blame or guilt on anyone. We all make mistakes who we give our money to. Unfortunately, we've given tens of thousands of dollars to institutions like DSU, but we've learned from that, and we've gone to higher purposes, helping the poor, helping the wounded, the broken. When you make a mistake, you admit it, you turn it around. That's what real men and women do. All the neighbors of this dormitory, including the homeowners, the children, parents, teachers of St. Thomas, will be affected. Bus drivers, especially the Hanson family, who are not here tonight. Like my husband said, we want to advocate for them. Of course, our properties are going to decrease in value. We've already been contacted by 2 realtors telling us that. And there will be an increase in noise and traffic. But the real victims are the women and children of domestic abuse. They're already victims before this, but unfortunately we victimized them again by not providing and protecting a home for them when they needed our help. And so I challenge the public to examine your hearts and where you give your money to. We're called to help the poor, wounded, and the broken. And the right answer came to us last week, that we can turn this all around and bless the Domestic Violence Network, the real victims, and we're asking the community to join us. So I would ask you to consider where your money is going to. And let's show the victims of violence and abuse that we are good men and women, and we are sorry that we've kind of forgotten them. And I would like to just ask the public to join us in generously giving to the Domestic Violence Network. And they bought a piece of property after this, and they are looking to build a home, and they have a tremendous burden ahead of them. And this is where you can give. You can make a real difference with your money. Give to their fund at First Bank and Trust, where they have set up a savings fund for the shelter. Go to their Facebook page, Domestic Violence Network Lakes area, and they will have a GoFundMe right on their top of their site. So please join me, and let's just bless their socks off. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
It has been in the crock pot a while.
Yeah.
It's probably done.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I mentioned the last time there's really 2 requests here. One is for the alley, use of the alley, and one is for the use of the boulevard. So I don't know. I fear if there's a vote taken and one might be received favorably and one not, they get balled up together. I don't know, is there a way, David, maybe we could recommend they
Just needs to, I mean, 2 motions would probably
Okay.
be the cleanest. If you feel like there's 2 requests before from DSU
Which-
before the board.
Would you say? The alley's not open right now, so there's no real.
Are you saying the alley is vacated then?
It's not vacated, it's just not open.
Just not open?
We don't, it's not.
I didn't mean to muddy the waters, but
We
it's
can
not
cut
that
the
big a
other
deal.
alley. That's what he needs to west of that.
Yeah. Take-
That came up first, I think,
Yeah.
the first night. Here.
Right.
All right, well, we gotta move on with this one way or the other, so I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the application for Dakota State University permit to occupy the right-of-way northwest Third Street and North Van Ness Avenue. I am inclusive of all that proposed in that motion, okay? All the places, whether it be from the alley, or on Van Ness or on Third. Okay, that's all I'm.
No.
Is all of that identified in the permit?
It's outlined in Mr. Erickson's letter. And I believe, stand by for,
Then I think the motion's clear and can just be one.
You want amended, Bob, or good with?
I'd like,
Do
I
what?
can't make the motion, so.
Second?
For the alley there?
All of it, all the whole.
All of it?
Well, now there's a motion and a second.
Any further discussion? Not, all in favor?
Roll call,
No,
please.
we will take a roll call vote. Yes, sorry. Jen?
Roll call vote. Commissioner Corbin?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
All right,
Commissioner Dell?
Nay.
Mayor Danner?
Nay. Motion, that would be a motion failed due to a tie. Correct.
The motion fails.
Thank you. We'll move into the new business. Authorize mayor to sign letter of contract Banner Associates, Inc., WWTF screw pump coating. Brad?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, you should have in your packet a letter from Banner discussing the coating process for the screw pumps at the wastewater treatment facility and the need to have those recoated. Last year during inspection, it was noted that they were, some of the coating had come off of them, and they're something that they run all the time, 24/7, and so it's hard to get them. You know, you can't not have them. It's something that's crucial to the operation of the plant. This is a letter outlining the cost of engineering to do the coatings project, where we have to remove the screw pumps. They have to be sandblasted and the surfaces cleaned and then repaired of any defects that are found, and then coated with this high-quality coating that we did similar to the walls and the different parts of the water treatment plant and other parts of the wastewater treatment plant last year. We weren't able to add this project in last year, so we had to come back and do it this year. And this is the engineering for that.
How much?
It's $24,000 for not to exceed.
Where are we getting the money from?
We have a couple options on the money. My recommendation would be to utilize the cash balance of the sewer fund.
Eimer, is he okay with that?
I am. I would like it to be part of your motion. Clarify for me, though, that this is for engineering only.
This part is engineering only.
Okay.
So moved.
This is not full project. This is.
No, and to go a little bit farther to,
oh, we got a motion on the floor here.
okay, go ahead and get a second.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any further comment, discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
The only other thing I had noted is I talked to Rick today, and as Brad had mentioned, they tried to get it on last year because the condition is quite poor. And I think it's fair to say time is of the essence for these bidding documents to be prepared, get on the streets. You had to advertise for 10 days. And if they want the work to get done this year, it's still going to be very tight. So I just wanted to add that
Like a
as well.
20 19 expense too, that's not budgeted, just tell me how much?
We're anticipating around $100,000.
So that's gonna have to come back before the group too, or a funding source.
One more time, what is that that has to come back?
The actual project,
Okay.
the actual coding project.
You'll have to bid the project if it's
Yeah.
$100,000, so
It's gotta go out for
bid
bids.
process will be back before you.
That's what these, yeah, this engineering proposal is to prepare the bid documents primarily, and then also to come back and do some of the construction oversight. They have to have a certified inspector to do the coatings.
So the motion is just for the.
This is just for the engineering, yes.
Engineering.
Engineering.
And you have your motion in the second,
Yes.
already on the table.
And you know what fund it's coming out of, correct?
From the sewer cash balance was part
Okay.
of the motion.
To be sure, be clear, I mean, this
Yes.
is for the engineering and the bid process for,
Yes.
okay. Or the engineering that allows us to move forward with the bid process. Okay.
Yes, there's two components in here, is prepare plans and specifications for coating equipment in the screw pumps. And then part number 2 is on-site quality assurance, quality control, inspection, and construction administration. That's the whole gambit. It's not just the plans, it's the plans, bid specs, and engineering on-site when they're doing the coating process.
Thank you.
You want to have a certified inspector on site when you do coatings. It's pretty meticulous, and you want to know what you're looking for.
It is temperature sensitive, so we do have that, looking forward, that if we get too cool, then we have a problem of getting the coatings done to spec,
When
so.
was the last time you had this done?
These screws?
Well, they were built
We didn't
in,
do these screws.
these were first, they came.
First time? These are first time.
First time, because the
You coated the
plant was
clarifier.
upgraded in 08.
Does this all have to
Yes,
go
last year.
in one bid? Can we ask our engineer to do work order number 1 and save that 11,500?
Well, we don't have anybody on staff that's certified to do the inspection. It's a specific course you go to, and you have to go through it to become a NACE certified inspector.
You're just writing the specs.
Which part of you, the work order number 1 is the specs,
Yeah.
right?
Is that something that Chad or one of his guys out of his department could do?
I don't know if we have the time right at the moment with the highway
Preparation
project and,
coating.
yeah, and everything else. I mean, from a timing perspective, we are up against it. We wanted to get this going a little sooner, but we've been RD project, Highway 34, you name it, we've been on all these projects. We got to get this done this year.
Okay.
This was a means to an end to get through this faster. It's something we've wanted to do for some time, it just hasn't gotten pushed forward, so.
And I would also say that time is an issue.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Comments? Not, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Move into item number 2, authorize mayor to sign letting authorization, South Dakota Department of Transportation, project number BRO 804000 PCN 02EF. Chad.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor and Commission. Included in the agenda packet is a document provided to me by the South Dakota Department of Transportation. As you may recall, we've been proceeding with some bridge upgrades for bridges that were deemed insufficient. This has been in the plans, if you will, for probably at least 5 years. This is for the Garfield Bridge. We originally planned to bid the Garfield and Center Street bridges together. There was some issues on the DOT side that prevented that. And so the Center Street bridge has already been bid, it's under contract, and is anticipated to start potentially yet this year, perhaps a chance of moving it to next year. This project would be bid in the near future, but the construction primarily would likely happen next year as well for this project. We actually had this in the budget already for 2019, and due to those delays, we'll just rebudget for it. We won't realize those expenses here in 2019, and we'll include it back in the budget for essentially the same amount, maybe some slight variations. due to inflation and other adjustments, but it'll be nearly the same.
And that was about 153,000, correct?
It'll
For
be,
this
it'll be
specific
between 153 and 160, a smaller portion from the sewer fund, because there actually is a sewer main in this area that crosses the creek, is shallower than typical. We've had some correspondence and coordination with DENR. We believe we came up with a solution to protect it appropriately, and place that and upgrade that, I should say, during this construction in conjunction with the bridge. They go hand in hand. But most of it will be out of the general fund, drainage fund. We have it incorporated into the IIP. I would recommend that we proceed.
Forgive me, am I on the wrong thing here? But it's an 80-20 match?
Correct, we pay 20%.
Okay.
Our 20% is about that 150.
When you, okay, that's where you're getting the 150, that's about 20%. Okay, I'm with you then. I thought you were saying the whole project was 150, and I'm looking at 782 or something.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay, yeah, my error. Thank you.
And that is correct, Chad, like we talked, the 4,194 is 100% from us.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a non-participating. There's different buckets the DOT puts this in. They have to carve it out when it comes to the federal funds they receive for this. And they have to note certain parts as non-participating, surfacing, and then the non-participating is also rolled into this as far as the sewer. And then, of course, we have to pay the 20% on the balance of the participating.
Yeah. Thank you.
I got a lot of buckets carving going on right now, it seems to me. And not that you're ungrateful, I'm not. So I'll move that particular item, that agenda item. Proceed with this motion.
I got a motion.
Second.
I got a second. Any further comment, discussion? Not. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Public comment?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing tonight. Announcements. I did want to make one announcement on the tree dump and the grass dump. I've had several calls, and I went out there a couple times to use it myself. Those that are taking stuff out, please secure the load so it doesn't fall off, and if it does, please stop and pick it up. And the other question I had, probably for Kelly, do we allow corn stalks out there?
Well,
I mean,
yes.
Is that
that's
grass?
pretty broad. Well, it's yard waste if it's out of a garden or something, you know.
So if you're cleaning
Your garden,
corn,
yeah, well, if you're
they
cleaning
can
corn, yeah, or
throw-
cleaning corn, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's
You
all
know,
I see a
it's
bunch
not a
out
farm,
there.
yeah, it's not,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. That's
It's a interesting question, but I mean,
Right.
Tomato vines are out there, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
just wanted to clarify
Just not
that.
out.
Thank you.
We're just not starting out. Yeah.
Okay. Seeing no executive session, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Can I ask you something before the motion? Say something about that. That I remember when we had that, before it was the old dump, okay, where you can take yard waste. And I can remember before we had that, people running out west of town to the restricted use site, just take things out there. This is a gift. It's
Yes.
also free. So anything to go along with what the mayor said, but also, you know, take plastic bags out there, you dump your stuff, please. There is a waste bin out there, put them in there, or else take them home and reuse them. Don't abuse it. We've had people drop furniture off out there. It's a huge abuse. Let's not lose this, okay? Other places that have had those closed up for those reasons, you know, and it is a use a lot of the public, so I just wanted to
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you.
Wanted to keep it
Yeah, we wanna
open
keep it
for
open
everybody,
as long
so
as we possibly can, so.
need to make sure all the garbage gets out, or all the tree branches and grass clippings get out there, so. Okay. Do you have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. We will be going into 2020 budget discussion.